I always thought, one, the CFT makes so much more sense than the PFT. And
yes,
I actually enjoy doing it. Unlike the PFT, I always just like dreaded doing that. But I don't know. I guess maybe explain if PJ was here what the CFT encompasses.
Oh, you're as the furthest removed from active duty.
Yeah. Has it changed?
You're taking PJ's spot. Why don't you explain the two, Jeff, and then I'll give my takes.
So Marine Corps basically divides the year in half. 6 months of the year is your physical fitness test season. So kind of your classic military physical fitness test with some, for Marine Corps, 3-mile run, some pull-ups, and now the plank. And then the other half of the year, so is it June through December, is the combat fitness test. And that consists of an 800 and was it 880? Yeah,
880, right?
Yeah. Half mile. Let's call it.
Yeah.
Actually,
half mile sprint. I always get this confused.
Sometimes they refer to it in yards, and sometimes they refer to it in meters.
I think it's 800 meters, 880 yards.
That sounds right.
Okay,
that sounds right.
But I'm gonna be PJ for a second.
Correct.
It's 880 yards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how the Marine Corps, because we're Americans.
Yeah,
so we talk in yards. Yeah. Okay. 880 yards, which is 2 laps around the track.
Yes. Yeah. And you do that wearing so like your utility pants or trousers, t-shirt.
So like Dickies, and there's like a carpenter little strap. And you have a hammer hanging. Is that what you mean by utility?
Your camouflage pants.
Oh, okay.
And then your boots. So you're running in boots, which is always super fun. But half mile sprint. And then you do ammo can lifts in 2 minutes. 30-pound ammo can, basically pressing it from below the chin to locked out overhead, but you can also like press it out in front of you. I don't know. It's kind of a weird.
You have to extend the elbows, and it has to be above your nose, but you can also use your legs.
What do they call that? What do they call that one?
Ammo can press.
Ammo can lift.
So it's like movement to contact, and then you have ammo. It's just called ammo cans. That's lame. And then you have movement under fire.
Yeah, maneuver under fire.
Oh, maneuver under fire.
Maneuver warfare.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about that one, Jeff?
Tech 1. So then the maneuver under fire, you're wearing your boots, your trousers, and your blouse. So your camouflage uniform, your camouflage like utility uniform. And then you do like a sprint to a high or to a low crawl to a high crawl, and then you zigzag through some cones. You get to the end of the zigzag.
I know we call it a baby crawl.
you got your buddy that's waiting for you at the end.
Oh, nothing like a good buddy carry.
And you scoop him up and you drag him, so you kind of like are holding him basically from behind. His legs are dragging on the ground, and you kind of drag him backwards and then kind of diagonal to the first zigzag cone. And then you grab them, throw them on your back for a fireman's carry, and you run them all the way back to the starting line. And then at the starting line, you pick up 2 of the 30-pound ammo cans, and you go back through the course. So you zigzag, and then you get to like the halfway point. There's a fake grenade waiting for you.
Okay, I know we call it a blue body, a friggin' blue body.
You got that waiting for you. You pick it up and you throw it. I don't know how far away the box is. Like
20 yards.
100 yards.
20 yards?
Oh, 20 yards. That's right. Yeah.
There's like a 10 by 10 box or something, or 5 by 5, 10 by 10. I don't know, whatever the box is.
Precision, 3 by 3.
There's a box that's kind of drawn with some cones. If you land the grenade in the box, you get 5 seconds deducted from your time. So like you get faster. If you miss, you get 5 seconds added to your time. So then you throw the grenade, drop down, do 5 push-ups, hop back up, grab your ammo cans,
chesty,
and then you go all the way back through the little zigzag, and then it's a sprint all the way to the finish.
And it's like, so for those listening, that sounds like really long. It is, what's max time? 2:15, 2:05, depending on age, somewhere. It's like low 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, somewhere, it's like a 2-minute gut check. Before we talk in the difference between the PFT and the CFT, Jeff will love this. So, we have like half the battery drilling this weekend because the other half had shot the rifle range, and, there's only so many days, this, that, what have you. And so we're doing the CFT, and I'm like, hey, everyone's going to run the CFT. If they're here, like we need to start, knocking these things out. So they got 2 lanes going. And of course, Gunny's like, okay, we only got 2 lanes. Put up a 3rd lane. And, the sergeant's like, Gunny, and he's like, well, you going to put up a 3rd lane. This is why we're doing the movement to contact. So he puts up the 3rd lane. So I run mine. I guess I'll just go into my recap. Then you can tell me yours, Jeff. I run the 880. What's maxing on that? 245, right? 250.
Again, depends on age. I know mine's 245, but I'm above the.
Okay, no, I think my max is 245 too. I ran it in like 256. I did not max it, right? But I went all out, and here's how I know. So we do that. All the Marines go through that. They run like 15 at a time, and then we go do the ammo can lifts. And the ammo can lifts for me is like 120 in 2 minutes. So that's like kind of easy for me. And I finish. And I'm like, man, I am sweating my butt off. And so I go and I just chug a bunch of water. And then, I'm doing everything first because, I'm the officer. You do it first.
The leader.
And I'm like, they're briefing the maneuver under fire. And I'm like, I'm going to puke. And I'm like, I've never puked. I've heard stories about people puking. I've seen Marines puke. And so I just walk away like a few feet and just all the water and coffee I had that morning, because that's all I had for like 2.5 hours. I bet you
felt amazing after that.
I felt great. And the Marines saw it. They're like, sir. And I'm like, I get down to the low crawl where you start, before the sprint. I'm like, let's go. So anyway, I run it. I come back. I'm gassed. I think I did max that one, or I was really close to it. I'm gassed. And so I'm catching my breath. I'm trying to get some fluids back in me. And then I see this 3rd lane getting set up, and Marines start going it. And my driver, Godfather 6 Delta, is doing it. And so I go to watch him do it. And he goes up and he gets the grenade portion. And I'm walking up, 200 yards down or however long that whole course is. And there's a tree right in front. Literally, it's here's where I'm throwing from. Here's a tree with tons of branches. On the other side is the target. And so he throws it really well. And it's I'll probably get fired for telling the story. It's branch, drop, and the Marine's miss. And I'm like, what? And
it's realistic.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, yes. But also.
And I'm like,
you think there's trees on the battlefield?
I'm like, if they hit the tree, it's not really fair. So anyway, we adjusted course, but it was just, I was like, of course the Marine Corps does that. Hey, you're in lane number 3, thump tree. And no one was like, oh, this course was set up on a tree. The other 2 aren't. They're just like, that's a miss. He didn't hit the box. Anyway, how'd it go for you, Jeff? 300?
It was good. Yeah. Back in the 300 club.
Ooh, nice.
290 last year. Was really, really sad about that.
Yeah. I think it was 287 or 283 this year.
Last year was the first time I had not. But I think going into last year's, I was having some back stuff. So I remember not really training a ton just in general going into it.
Yeah.
So I felt pretty good. I was like, okay.
Did you miss the grenade too?
No, I don't.
Ooh, 300 with a miss is like a badge of honor.
That'd be crazy.
True.
But
I've done it before. I did 300 and I missed, and it dropped me down. So I've been there.
I did. Yeah, I had one time. I picked the guy up to do the fireman's carry and took my first step and just fell over with the guy on my back. And I was so embarrassed that I grabbed him up and just I just booked it the rest of the way. And I think I had a pretty good time that year. But yeah, we did the 880. I think I got a 233. I don't know if the course is necessary.
Ooh, boys,
I'd be interested to measure it.
Okay.
That West
Side is nice. It is nice in that where you take this turn for the last 50 meters, and that it's a kind of little downhill there.
Wait, did you? Where did you run it on Seal Beach?
We started kind of over by the road that goes back behind the
preserve.
Gym.
That one. Yeah. I've run that course. Yep.
Yeah, and then
you started up at the top, kind of by the gate. You ran down. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of winds a little bit, and then you take a right at the stop sign.
Yeah. It's cool. I ran this one on a track for the first time.
That sucks.
That's kind of nice.
I kind of thought it was nice because it was
I did
like
it on track one time and I liked it.
Yeah, it was nice because it was accurate. But then I was like, I'd rather have some hungover staff sergeant measure my course,
100%.
and it's actually 800 yards.
I'm measuring in my truck. My truck also has giant tires on it and is not calibrated.
I just grabbed my iPhone and hopped into my F350, and yep, that's 880 yards.
So you should go to the Olympics, sir. You just broke the world record.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, there was, I don't know. Yeah, it was fun. Had, like, I was asking people because I hadn't run that course before. So kind of like asking around, like, what's usually your time? So I could like, okay, who can I kind of like pace off of? Because I didn't really have any like landmarks. But so did that. Ammo can, since I'm an old guy, I only have to do 110.
Okay.
So no problem. And then the maneuver under fire was, it was just like, it was on a turf field. So that was kind of nice. And
that new turf field by the
worried
softball.
About like a little stepping into like a little divot and like blowing out my knee with somebody on my back. So I did enjoy that. But it was fun. It was really fun being out there with the battery and just like.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like you dread, and then while you're doing it, you're like, oh, this is actually really fun.
Yeah.
I remember
always pre like sleep, pre like PFT or CFT sleep, where like I wake up every hour on the hour, just terrified that I'm going to miss my alarm. Like it just,
I love it because if you didn't get a 300, you would have been fired. So I'm glad you stressed about it as much as you did.
I remember always apologizing because you're supposed to match up on the movement under fire with somebody who's like roughly your same size, right?
Yeah, within 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Within 10 pounds. I just remember always apologizing to the guy. I was like, sorry, dude. You're stuck with me now, dude.
Yeah. I was like,
I feel like Grant got me one time.
Yeah, I think I did get you one time.
I think you got me one time. I was like, oh, sorry, dude.
Yeah. When you're like 22, though, it's like nothing.
True.
Like, when you're doing 35 and you throw the guy in your back, you're like, come on, man, put your hand on my low back. Like, what are you doing?
Really push it in there. Push harder.
But back to the initial part of this. Yeah, Trey, what I like about the CFT, and I didn't max it, it was 15 points shy or whatever, but is if you are in good shape, you can go out and get a really good score.
Yep.
And with the PFT, if you are in good shape, you can go out and get a really bad score. Because if you haven't trained what I would say what is endurance on chin-ups, right? Like you could have a strong, fit guy where his max chin-ups is, 13, 14, 15, bad score. Or you could have a strong, fit, low body fat guy and his 3 mile time. Sorry, this cat's biting my foot again. His 3 mile time is 24 minutes. Which, like, if you put that out across America, like, hey, I can deadlift 405 and I'm 15% body fat and I can run a 24-minute 3 mile. People are like, that's great. But no, terrible time. So I just like that for the way I train. I'm not a runner. If I just stay fit, I can go run a great CFT. But if I want to score well in the PFT, I have to like specifically train for it. Like it's more specified than the CFT is. And forget that I like lift weights. It just in general, like if you were in good conditioning and strong CFT, you can knock it out of the park.
It's a better gauge. Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Especially for like the mission of the Marine Corps. It's like they always say train like you fight. And then, like you're doing a test in combat boots and like carrying people.
Dude, I've always ran 3 miles to the enemy in my Go Fasters every time. Every time. Hey, look, the Taliban.
I don't know. I've always liked it so much more. I never really stress about it. I stress about PFTs, but pro CFT very much so.
Well,
I like them both.
Well, no, what I do like about the PFT is it makes me do something that I wouldn't do. Right. It makes me train for my 3 mile because I care about my score. And so I go out and I work that. And I do think that I think Jeff could tell me if he thinks I'm wrong, but I think one of the PFT's functions is just overall weight control. Because like if you're really fat, 3 miles is tough.
Yeah.
And it's like just running 3 miles.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like, they're like, yeah, we know you'll never run 3 miles of combat, but if you have to run 3 miles once a year, like you can only be so fat and still do that. And what's the minimum time? Like 24th, 45, something like that.
So
like it's like
It's higher
under
than that.
Is it?
What's-
It's
what's-
under 9-minute miles.
What's failing? Score
That's what I mean. Well, failing
I don't know.
score wise or failing run time wise?
Failing score wise.
Well,
Yeah,
you have
some
first class, second
really-
class, third class. Yeah, it's bad. I think you can do like 5 pull-ups.
See,
Yeah.
you lose on the 3 mile, you lose 1 point every 10 seconds.
10
Is that right?
seconds. Yeah. Off of 18 minutes. So if you run 18 minutes, it's 100 points. If you run 18:10, it's 99, so on and so forth.
What's your highest PFT ever?
My highest PFT ever was at 298 coming
ran
out of
two- yeah.
OCS.
I ran 299
I ran
OCS.
18:14 on the last one, and I've never broken 19 since. And I've only broken 20 like once.
Would you want? I don't know. Yeah.
And now I just pray to break 23. Like, come on, Lord.
I think I ran an 18:03 at OCS.
Woo. That's
And
really
I was like-
frustrating.
I was like, was that 18? There's like, no, 18:03. I'm like, you sure?
You sure?
But-
You sure you want to check that again? Yeah.
Yeah, double check that for me.
It's like so for like 17 to 20-year-olds, the like lowest score on the 3 mile like scoring table for males is 2740. That's 40 points. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's necessarily
Assuming you max everything
that's
else.
slow.
27:40. So that's 9 minute. That's 9 minute and 15 second roughly miles.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think for most people in the US,
Oh,
People shoot
100%.
for like just 30 minutes. Yeah.
they'd be super happy with a sub 30-minute 3 mile. I'm not saying that the standards should be lower. I think they should be right where they are, but I just mean, like, we all know, hey, you just have to work out consistently and every now and then, and you can run 9-minute miles. But at the same time, if you just were doing the comparison to the general public, like 9-minute miles for 3 miles, like, it's not bad. Like,
Not
I
bad.
don't know
Not bad.
a ton of people that can do that.
So you're saying
Um,
general public needs to raise their standards. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, general public needs to raise their standards
Yeah.
so that because then the Marine Corps raised theirs. No, general public needs to lower their standards.
yeah.
Like where they can't walk 400 meters, and then it'll be like, all right, new physical fitness test. Walk
We gotta revisit these standards.
walk to Arby's.
There's a 5 for 5 roast beef and cheddar waiting for you.
Yeah, then we're gonna have a mental exam where you have to place an order. And
I get okay. So a third class PFT, so is between 120 and 199 points. So 120 is the passing
Is the third
score, I
class.
guess.
Oof.
all right.
So if you got 40 points in every event, that would be
Man, that's
that's rough.
that's
But you know what's good?
rough. What's that?
Was we didn't know what the minimum standard was. We weren't even.
That's
it
true.
wasn't
We
even
just
on our
focus
radar.
on those maxes, baby.
We're just good Marine Corps officers.
Hey, max, relax. That's what I always
Amen.
say.